Hey, a self-defense event happens in seconds. In the time it takes to listen to this commercial, your life could change forever. I pray you're never forced to shoot in self-defense. But if you must, then you must be ready. That's why USCCA exists, because every responsibly armed American should have their training and education to navigate a self-defense situation. And should you ever need it, the 24/7 critical response team is right there for you. To discover more about USCCA, visit uscca.com/GOR. Act now, because the life you save could be your own. Check them out, uscca.com/GOR.
So there's no Action Jackson in the studio, but the lovely Alicia is here with us.
Hey.
How's it going?
Really well.
And you're all decked out?
Yeah, where are you going?
It's a holiday. It's Christmas season. A holiday party after we're done here.
Very, very cool. And Max, how you doing, man?
Doing very well.
Talk right into that microphone there.
Guy like you know.
Where are you from, Max?
From San Marcos, California.
Yeah. And what do you? What organization or group do you represent?
And I'm the president of the UCSD Marksmanship Club.
Very cool.
Yeah, very good.
So
Yeah.
we're gonna talk to Max. We're gonna interview him and talk about the UCSD Marksmanship Club, which is something that San Diego County Gun Owners is very proud to do whatever we can to help you guys. You guys, it's very, very cool that Jimmy. You have big shoes to fill.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy started it, and you're taking the baton and running with it, right?
Yeah, I'm just taking the reins and try to keep this club going.
Yeah, which is fantastic. I'm a big fan of the club.
Is there a challenge, would you say, on campus?
I wouldn't say there was a significant challenge. I mean, at least we didn't really get a lot of pushback from the school nor the student body there, so that's definitely a good thing.
But there's still a lot of challenges. We're going to do a whole interview. We're going to talk all about it. We got you for a couple segments, so we don't want to steal any of your thunder yet.
All right.
But it's a fascinating story. You guys are a fantastic club.
Oh, he's not the story yet.
Not yet. No, we're a couple things we want to talk about. First off, we're going to do a recap later in the show with Karla from Inland Empire Gun Owners. She's the executive director. They had their Christmas party on Saturday.
What did I win?
You won absolutely nothing.
Okay, just checking.
But most people that attended did win something. And then this weekend, if you are anywhere near Orange County, you're going to want to go to orangecountygunowners.com. Check out they're having their Christmas party this Saturday night. I'll be there. So it'll definitely be a party if I'm there. But go on the website, see the information, buy tickets to their party, and come and join us. It's December 17th, which is Saturday at Taps Brewery and Barrel Room. It's only $25. RSVP is required. And then San Diego, we're having our Christmas party on December 19th. That's a week from tomorrow, right? Yeah, it's a week from tomorrow. The Bali Hai, it's free, and you could win a gun. We're actually, it ends up, I thought we were going to have a gun. We're going to have multiple guns.
Really?
You could potentially win. Plus, somebody donated, I'm going to have more details on this, but somebody donated a $250 bottle of hooch.
No kidding.
I can't remember if it's bourbon or I got to get all the details. I can't remember if it's bourbon or
Scotch?
No.
Vodka?
No.
Gin?
No.
Don't you hate it when you do a ball? Then you
I
get
know.
all of that?
Anyway, it's a bottle of booze. So
Bottle of booze.
somebody might win something very, very cool. And we're going to interview Max. We're talk about the UCSD Marksmanship Club. We're going to talk about the listening sessions. There's one last opportunity to make your voice heard here in San Diego County with these stupid listening sessions. So want to make sure that we
get that
we
in.
Talk about all that. And then I have a confession before we go into the first segment.
Now what?
So did you guys hear about the Liver King? You know what I'm talking about? You heard about it, Max?
He's like a bodybuilder.
I am
guy.
aware of Liver King.
The Liver King. Did you see what happened last week?
No.
So Liver King, like you said, Brendan, he's enormous, this huge guy. He finally came out and admitted that he's on
Steroids.
No kidding.
And you're shocked.
Big story.
And you're
And
shocked.
so he's not a natty. How dare
He's
you?
not an ex. So I wanted to take this opportunity to come clean. A lot of people, I've been telling people that, I'm on steroids. They come up and they tell me, Mike, you have to be on steroids. I'm taking this opportunity. He really has inspired me. I got to tell everybody, I'm not on steroids. This is all natural.
Oh, my goodness.
I want to come clean.
I am so shocked.
Yeah, no, I feel better. Just letting
You
it
feel
out.
better?
Yeah, just letting people know.
Instagram pictures.
I've
later?
been people are just like, you have to be on steroids, Mike. Look at you. And I'm like, I know I am on steroids. It's the only way I could accomplish this.
Yeah.
But I'm totally natural, everybody.
Well,
So
what you see is what you get.
I wanted to get that out there.
You feel better now?
I do,
All right.
A weight has been lifted off,
Yeah.
and I did it because I'm that strong.
That's right. No,
I lifted that weight up.
You're right there. You're right there. I got a book for you to read. Ronda Rousey, her autobiography.
Oh, really? Is she on steroids?
No, she's not on steroids.
I
They
think
looked.
so. How is it? Is it good?
Oh, amazing. Cried 4 times before page 87.
Really?
Yeah.
Did she have a rough life?
Yeah, born with the umbilical cord wrapped around her neck was a start.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Does she
And-
remember that?
No,
Oh.
I don't think so. She may have.
She was amazing. I remember being
And
a
her
big
mother would sneak in the middle of the night and attack her, throw her into an arm bar just to make sure she was alert. The story is amazing. It's really, I think anybody should read it. It's not just a girl wrestling story. I mean, this girl's got some wisdom. Let me tell
Really?
you. Been
We
through
should
a
get her
rough
on the
life
show.
though.
Let's get her on the show.
I've tried, and I end up getting some person out there in the la world saying we need to do this indiscreetly because my privacy, like it was talking to Ronda Rousey. I reached out to her on social media. I'm not doing that again.
Oh, really?
Turns out it wasn't her.
I heard this story about how I guess she was at like a movie theater
Yeah.
and a couple of guys start messing with
Yeah.
her and she kicked their butts.
Oh
right
yeah.
through.
Oh yeah. She was brutal.
Could you imagine?
What was bad is when her boyfriends would do something they weren't supposed to.
I don't even want to think about
She stomped the snot out of this
it.
one, and there wasn't anything he could do.
So, what's your biggest takeaway from the book?
Hard work, and a little more hard work will get you to the top.
Wow.
She
talked about
out-trained-
guns at all? Is she a gun?
No, she didn't talk about him, which was kind of where I was hoping for,
Yeah.
just to see where her head is. It was an autobiography that was quite private. You know, I mean, you could just tell by the way it was written. Like she would touch and skirt on certain topics, but the biggest thing was she swore she was going to outwork and outtrain anybody, and that's all she did. She would starve for 7 days to
Jeez.
try to make weight,
Jeez.
and then she would.
Oh, when she was like in what? She
Yeah.
was doing, what was she doing? Jiu-jitsu? or-
MMA, judo to start with,
Judo.
and then in fact, then she got it. Dana was the guy running MMA, and he said they'll never be a woman.
You know, in the early 90s, I moved to Hawaii and I was really into wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, so high school, start wrestling in Hawaii. I'm like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
And then I got introduced to judo, and all the
That was me. I
if
love
the
judo.
guy, if I looked across the mat, you know, and I was a heavyweight, I know you're shocked.
never thought that.
So I was always the last one to, you know, if I looked across the mat and the dude was doing some kind of judo warm up, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be a long night. Man, this is gonna hurt.
This guy's been climbing all over me.
Jeez.
Tell me about it. I think I told you that time my buddy and I were taking it together. We both got into a, you know, like a lock. You try to choke the other guy out.
Right.
Well, neither one of us had the strength. So my coach come up. He says, "You guys look like a couple of pigs wiggling in the mud. Get up," because I couldn't choke him and he couldn't choke me. But
Right.
Alicia, you said you
does
took a little
MMA.
stint
I
in
do a
MMA.
little.
How'd you like it? Did you enjoy it?
I can stand my own. I like it.
Yeah.
Yep. At one point in time, it used to be very common for schools to have a shooting and a marksmanship club, but not so much anymore, especially here in California. But we're seeing a comeback, and that's pretty awesome. So UCSD Marksmanship Club is up next in studio.
But first, if you have legal matters that involve firearms, then you need to call California firearms lawyer John Dillon. If you have questions about red flag laws, gun registration, maybe gun transportation, or maybe you just need to know that the guns that you have in California are compliant, call our trusted firearms attorney before you do anything. John Dillon. John specializes in California gun laws, 760-642-7150, or you can visit his website at dillonlawgp.com.
All right, we introduced Max in the first segment, and now we're going to talk to him in depth. Max is from the UCSD Marksmanship Club. How you doing, man?
Doing very good. Just got done finals this week, so
Oh,
looking forward to a really long winter break.
You know-
so your brain is clear as a bell now,
yes,
right?
Yes.
for the next 40 years of your life, you will worry twice a year, even though you don't have finals. It is those 4 or 5 years in college, or 6 or 7 or 8 years in college, whatever, whatever your flavor, it gets ingrained in you. So, like right around this time, no matter what, well into your 30s, 40s, and 50s, you'll be like, finals, and then no, I'm good. I don't have to take those. So
Well, looking forward to that.
I know that's the post-traumatic stress of college. Anyway, so how long have what year are you in?
Currently in my 4th year, I study political science, concentrating in data analytics, and I'm a double major, so I'm also studying education sciences as well.
Oh wow, are you from San Diego?
Yeah, I'm from San Diego. I'm from more
Oh, you
specific.
said San Marcos, right?
Yeah, yeah, I'm from San Marcos, currently living in Escondido, so it's definitely just
It's a hop, skip, and a jump.
There you go.
pretty much.
And what got you? Have you always been interested in firearms, or did that come after you got to college, or what was your path?
Well, I would say that my interest in firearms kind of stems from, playing airsoft with a few of my friends back in middle school, and in that, learning about the firearms and how to manipulate them eventually got me more interested in maybe possibly buying a gun. And so, right when I turned age 18, I purchased my first firearm, which was a Russian SKS.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's like it's like the gateway drug of guns, man.
yeah, the best gun in California, arguably speaking. But yeah, and from that point on, it went on a downward trend to where I ended up being the president of the Marksmanship Club.
Well, airsoft, I feel like paintball, airsoft. What's the game that everybody Call of Duty?
Oh yeah,
Like those are like the three. I think that a lot of people, late teens, where they finally hit 18, 21, right in there, and they can legally afford, but they can legally purchase a firearm. Those three things kind of have led them there. Don't you feel like that's expanded the sport?
yeah. I'd say that like at least from an airsoft / paintball perspective, I would argue that it actually complements sort of like gun culture in America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good way of putting it. Explain that though. What do you mean by that? It complements it.
So, with for airsoft at least, most of the electric guns and gas guns, they all are replicas of the real thing.
Yeah.
And so, because they're replicas of the real thing, it allows not only countries that don't necessarily have Second Amendments in their constitutions, but it allows people to kind of like be able to train themselves to manipulate firearms as if it was the actual thing. And for those countries that don't have rights, that's a way for them to kind of like be able to train, but not necessarily kind of like skirt around firearms ownership for those countries.
Well, and even I think that I was never involved in airsoft. I did do paintball, and my memory is that the 4 rules applied in paintball. Did they follow the 4 universal rules in airsoft?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, it's always the 4 main firearm safety rules are always applied with airsoft because you don't want to potentially shoot someone's eye out, just like paintball.
You'll shoot your eye out, kid. Did you do you ever watch Dave? Have you seen airsoft? Do you know what we're talking about?
No.
Alicia, are your kids into airsoft or anything?
They are not, but I'm very familiar.
She is.
You've seen a lot of airsoft?
A decent amount, yeah.
What is airsoft for people like me?
They're like BB guns. I don't what caliber are the little pellets?
They're 6mm plastic pellets, not the metal ones. Don't be confused by those. Those actually can hurt more, and they actually could pierce your skin.
So has it got the velocity of a BB gun?
Yeah, it's about like 400 feet per second
Okay.
on average.
Which
So
is
it's kind of a BB gun.
Yeah, 400 feet per second.
Except the BB gun is a BB.
You're right.
That embeds in you.
400 feet per second is like 50%, maybe almost twice as fast as like a paintball gun, right?
Yeah.
Something like
I
that.
believe a paintball gun shoots around 200
Yeah,
feet per
Okay.
second.
So are there competitions for this? Like pickleball?
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm not really active with airsoft anymore.
Oh,
Okay.
But there are airsoft fields around. They have like large.
Oh, they actually have fields that you can do indoor?
Yeah, usually they share either they share or they have a dedicated field.
Okay.
It's mainly popular in Los Angeles, actually.
Everything's popular in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And they don't have to go retrieve their ammo, so to speak? Because they're
No,
little
you-
teeny
I
balls.
don't think they're a little tiny.
No.
But they're super. The guns that you use are replicas. They look very.
You have
realistic.
one.
I do not.
You're going to get
no,
one.
no,
Yes,
no.
you will.
I have.
You
I,
know you
I don't
will.
need replicas. I have the actual.
Yeah, but you could have one
I
anyway.
can have the actual thing.
But you don't have the replicas that look like the AR-15s that we could buy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Nor do you
Because
have a
with air-
replica of what you can't buy.
that's yeah,
Exactly.
That's more like it.
Yeah, I mean, you could buy LMGs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you could do that.
like 249s and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Go online, Dave. I'll send you a link.
Okay.
YouTube, they have guys that run around with airsoft. They run around with cameras and they do airsoft.
Yeah.
And it's like you're watching some kind of military
Well,
exercise because they're all decked out in BDUs.
I have to tell you,
They work as a team.
Have you ever done anything like that to where you're the aggressor and there was another group of people coming after you?
Just paintball when I was a kid.
Okay. Well, it's kind of like that. You notice when you were doing paintball, how you really got into playing paintball?
Yeah, I did. Okay,
The adrenaline was cranking. You didn't want to get hit.
so here's so there was Escondido had this Warfighter Academy, which was really, really great. Warfighter Academy, and they called me up and they said, "Hey, we're going to do this new curriculum for active shooters, and so come on down. We're trying it out." So they let me go do it for free, which was really, really awesome. One of the things they did is they gave it was how to get rid of or how to deal with an active shooter, like an active shooter, like somebody comes in and starts just mass shooting. How to get away, hide, whatever. And one of the things they did is they let everybody take an empty paintball gun, so it just made noise. And they said, okay, you're the active shooter. Everybody has to hide from you. That sounds like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
It was fascinating
I know.
be in that position.
I know.
You know what I mean? And understand like what you're looking for, what, it was really, really fascinating. It was
But
really
try
fascinating.
being hunted.
Well, they did that too in paintball.
That's not. That's what we were. We were like 4 aggressors, and then the rest of the company was coming after us.
Oh, back when you were in the Army?
I was in the Army, and I only did this exercise one time, but talk about embedded in your head. And I was carrying an M60, and it couldn't weigh more than 2 pounds. I was that amped up, and then I rolled over a perfectly good wall that was about 2 feet tall.
Yeah.
Dropped about 65 feet into Poison Oak.
Ooh.
But
Nice.
the adrenaline went away immediately.
Where was this? What part of the country?
This is in Fort Ord, California.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How fun was that?
Looking back on it, it was the best time of my life. At the time, I wanted to escape so bad you would not believe it. And that was during meningitis, where you had to sleep with all the windows open, and you only got one blanket, and you couldn't sit next to anybody, and you didn't do double time. So that was the best part of the whole thing.
That doesn't sound fun at all.
And then I'd sit at night, look out my window, and I could look at Monterey, and it looked like black velvet with diamonds.
Oh, wow.
Never forget that as long as I live here. I looked out that window a lot.
Write letters to your
Yeah.
sweetheart
Yeah.
at home or
Yeah.
whatever?
Yeah.
All right.
And then did shooting, became a marksman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Laying on the beach, shooting in the sand, looking over my shoulder, watching the I-5 or the Highway 1. It was terrible.
Jeez.
So close.
All right. So marksmanship
Anyway.
program UCSD. So what's the goal? What are you guys looking to do?
Yeah, so our main goal as a club is to educate. Now, that might be very broad, but it is a one-size-fits-all kind of approach. For some people, education is just enhancing their abilities to be, a better marksman, be proficient with firearms like handguns and rifles and so on. And another way is to also introduce and inform people who may not necessarily be familiar with firearms or their Second Amendment rights, and just educate them on what is firearms ownership looking like, and how to kind of like demonstrate how convoluted these gun laws are, and something like that. And so that's essentially what our club is trying to do for UCSD, because a lot of young people don't necessarily are not really I guess closely fondly with firearms and
They
stuff.
haven't had a lot of experience.
He
maybe
should
they-
be a politician. He's doing this quite well.
He is.
He's doing this very well.
I mean,
So
I'm
a lot of the-
poli-sci major, so
There you go.
So the lot of the students at UCSD, maybe they weren't raised around guns. They don't have a lot of experience around firearms. that
yeah.
Is there a lot of curiosity? Do you get a lot of people coming to the club?
Yeah, there is actually
more than
and-
you thought?
yeah, a lot more than I thought. when we had our first meeting earlier in this quarter, we actually had like 30 plus people like on the first day, and half of them were just people who are curious about the club and kind of like what we were all about. Because usually there's like two responses to our club. It's either they're really excited that like, oh wow, I get to like shoot guns.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it's like, whoa, there's a gun club on school. Like,
wait till I call
campus?
my mother. Wait till I call my mother. She's gonna come take me away. There's a gun club. I can't take it.
Yeah, but
Triggered.
The
gun club triggered me.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, but it's interesting how because when you first think of a gun club, there's just a bunch of kids want to go out and shoot in the fields. But you've put an educational twist to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's even more important than going out and shooting, because then once they learn, and you get a lot of ahas, like, oh, really? I never thought of that.
Yeah. We got a lot of people from, highly, very liberal places like San
Really?
Francisco, and basically just kind of like teaching them about firearms culture and whatnot.
Hey, the Orange County Gun Owners is dedicated to preserving and restoring Orange County self-defense rights. And if you live in Orange County and want to help defend and restore the Second Amendment, you need to join OrangeCountyGunOwners.com. That's OCGunOwners.com/join. Orange County Gun Owners is more than supportive the lawsuits for the Second Amendment. They have developed an effective infrastructure that focuses on local outreach and activism. Volunteer of a shooting social at a gun shop or tabletop. Help more pro-gun local officials get elected. Become a member today at OCGunOwners.com/join.
All right, we're talking to Max from the UCSD Marksmanship Club, which is a very cool organization that teaches UCSD students more about the Second Amendment, more about guns. Now, is it more about the function of a gun? Like here's safety and here's how you actually use a firearm? Is it more about the Second Amendment and hey, here's here are the laws, here's your civil rights and all that, or is it all the above?
It's all of the above. But it's more of kind of like the functional aspects of firearms, because for most people, especially the new ones, they are not really surrounded by firearms a lot, and so we try to give this. We try to use the club as an opportunity to kind of like introduce them in a safe environment and to be able to allow them to explore shooting as a fun hobby to get into.
So if they come in, let's say a student comes in and they just want to know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
You guys talk to them, find out what they're really looking for, and if they want to shoot, what's the process?
So we usually host public shooting events.
Gotcha.
And these events, with the help of San Diego County Gun Owners, and
Love that group.
I love those
their
guys.
volunteers.
They need to be stretched though.
And with the help of their volunteers, we essentially kind of like have mentors teach mentees.
Gotcha.
And just kind of like allow them to teach them whatever they needed to know about it. And from one person who was a San Francisco native, she even came up to me and said like, oh, it was a really empowering experience, especially as a young woman. So
wow.
Yeah, it was a really like rewarding experience, just kind of like knowing that what we're doing is kind of paying off just a little bit.
Well, now that you bring it up, more women than guys coming into your club?
Unfortunately, the ratio is a little off, but it is slowly getting.
For now,
it's slowly getting there.
More girls, you mean?
Yeah,
the more guys.
Yeah.
Well, the guys outnumber the girls right now.
Yeah.
But you're working on
Yeah.
Well, and that's just look at Not Me SD.
There you go.
You'd think that would there be millions, but you got to get the word out. Girls have got to be comfortable. They got to find a friend, because very rarely do they come in on their own. They usually have somebody with them, right?
Yeah.
It's like getting your first tattoo.
Yeah.
Or going to the bathroom.
Yeah, they all got to.
Oh, that's right. They all do have to get up and go to the bathroom together.
Just the way it is.
But
So,
how many in the club? Did I miss that?
No.
So we have like around 10 to 15 active members right now.
Okay.
But that usually gets but sometimes it gets a little higher because there'd be some people who are just curious about the club.
Right.
And
Then they just leave.
It ebbs and
Yeah.
flows.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like the numbers.
And that's not really what you care about. One person at a time is all you're looking at.
Yeah.
Sometimes, what's that old thing where you see that 3 guys, they do their own business, and they're standing at the computer, and he says, okay, start. And it goes from 1, 2, 3, 20, 50, 70, 100,000, 200,000, 500,000, a million.
And they tell
orders.
a friend, and they tell a friend
Yeah.
like that.
So you kind of are looking for slow, and small for right now.
Yeah. I mean, we're a fairly young club.
Well, you're only going to be there 4 years, right?
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah. Ish.
Yeah, depending on your major.
I'd be there
Yeah.
in a year.
So how do you guys get any? Does anybody give you any guff? Anybody give you any problems, or is everybody pretty accepting?
Personally, in my personal experience, it's pretty accepting.
Really?
Yeah, like
That's amazing.
I had an interaction with someone from AS student body who was the club affairs officer. We both happened to go to speech and debate together. So like he came up to me and was like, "Hey, you have a shooting club?" I'm like, "Yeah, we do." And it's like, "Oh wow, that's actually really cool. I never really would thought that the university would accept that, but overall, like
Why do you suppose they did? Are you that engaging? Did you talk them into it?
well, it was a very tedious process.
I bet.
It took a lot longer to register the club because they had to consult with their
Their
school
lawyers.
lawyers to see if we're like a walking red flag. But nah, we just follow university rules, and they're basically fine with us doing whatever we want to do.
Now, do you feel like, because we're talking like you guys are 18 to 22,
Yeah.
right? So it feels like, and this is all anecdotal, and I'm kind of a glass is half full guy anyway, right? But it feels like everybody who is now 30 to 45, they got this huge dose of anti-gunism, politically in the late 80s, throughout the 90s especially,
Mhm.
and then early 2000s. It feels like everybody who's 15 to 30 is they're kind of looking at guns a little differently. They're looking at the whole subject a little differently and going, hey, we have all these stupid laws that you guys enacted in the 90s. None of them are working.
Do you think it's cyclical? Do you think this comes around?
I don't know if it's cyclical, but they talk about a pendulum. Like
Yeah.
it swings,
Yeah.
and it feels like the pendulum is going back the other way. Do you feel like folks, 18 to 22 or, around your age group, do you feel like that they are they look at gun laws a little bit differently than, the generation before them?
I would say they're a lot more open-minded about firearms and maybe gun laws.
And why would you say that? Because let's face it, the media pretty much paints a firearm, a negative, bad thing.
Yeah.
Is that you guys just looking through the smoke?
Yeah.
Which we would expect you to do. 'Cause
Yeah,
you have
I mean-
to fix this place.
Yeah, I mean, as a club, we try to demystify,
Yeah.
most of the stuff around there. And at least in my experience, it's been it has positive reception with the people that we've interacted. Although,
they don't have a good argument against it,
yeah,
wouldn't you say?
no, they don't.
Because the arguments they give is like, what?
Yeah, and it's kind of unfortunate because it doesn't necessarily target the main issue of mass shootings. Kind of comes up a lot, and it's a lot more relatable for I guess our generation.
Mm-hmm.
And so there'll be some people that think that banning certain features would magically stop shootings from happening, but
Well, those are people that don't do their homework.
yeah,
They don't really look.
maybe they should look into
Yeah.
like source mitigation or some similar.
Well, see, these students all made it to UCSD, so they did their homework.
Yeah.
You don't get into UCSD without doing your homework.
Well, that's
Yeah,
true.
hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
So people, how do you become a member? Is it do people pay fees, or what makes a member?
Yeah.
You have
so
to beat him on the range.
yeah, so usually to become a member, you just have to make sure you don't have any skeletons in the closet. and
In other words, you could pass a background check with the federal government.
pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and and then you just pay a one-time fee of like $75, which is $25 a quarter, and that's usually for those who are really interested in maybe getting to shooting. With membership benefits, it comes with discounted prices on certain range events, and even being able to pay for tickets to attend
like a SHOT Show or something like that.
Yeah, or like competitive shooting,
Okay.
like in Lemon Grove or Escondido,
Mm-hmm.
and like other places like Paula too.
Right. Well, so could you guys accept sponsorships?
Yeah.
I believe so.
Right.
Because you know what I'm thinking.
We've sponsored some of their events and stuff like that. Some of the shoots and that sort of thing. By the way, I just got a text.
Yes.
Action Jackson wants to know, what's your favorite gun?
And you're going to answer the same way everybody else. Well, I got 37, and it's going to
I cannot say that I like one firearm over the other.
See?
I like them all equally.
That's,
But given
that's
this,
the answer.
but given this question,
There
I
you
would
go.
have to say SKS because this is my first gun, and I have like two right now, which is a Russian and a Chinese SKS.
So you're, by the way, good answer. You're going to be a poli-sci major. You're gonna graduate in like a year, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
Knock on wood.
a year or two.
And then what are you going to do?
So I wanted to just like work for a little bit and then try to get to grad school, in studying international affairs, and then commission as a officer in the Army
Oh, wow.
afterwards.
No kidding.
Yeah,
So
and
you want to
then
get your master's first and then go into the Army?
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, that'll get you a better rank.
hmm
You won't go in like a doorknob as a
The
private like me.
the promotion process is a little bit faster if you have a master's degree.
Yeah, slightly.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. How many, if you're a gun owner, you can't live on, how many people dorm on at UCSD? Is that common, or do most people live off campus?
I would assume that most people live off campus, so
Mm.
that's not necessarily an issue with like storing firearms in their place. But I
That's
think
a good question, wasn't it, Dave?
That was awesome.
Yeah. A lot of insight. Keep going.
but in terms of like on campus, obviously we can't have firearms on campus
Right.
for reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, like but yeah, there's just some people who like Jimmy, who are like local, and they'd be able to like pitch in and help out
Yeah.
with
Right.
whatever.
Hear that music?
So if you're a student, you want to get involved, you're at UCSD, how do they find you?
You can follow us through our social media. Instagram is UCSD_Marksmanship Club, and at Facebook, Marksmanship Club at UCSD. You can send us a direct message, and then we'll be able to guide you to it.
Did you know we have a world-class flight training school here in San Diego? I did. I know you did. Pilots can fly almost every day, and we're super close to the oceans, the desert, the mountains. It is beautiful. That's why San Diego is one of the best places to learn how to fly in the world. Learn to fly in sunny San Diego right at Montgomery Field. You can get started real easy. Just give them a call at 858-569-1822. That's Learn to Fly with SDFTI, or just call them 858-569-1822.
A lot of positive feedback from my reveal, Dave. People can't believe
I
it.
know. I
Can't believe I'm natural.
I seen you got one from a clothing
But,
company.
the what?
Yeah, it's going to hook you up.
I didn't see that.
I know.
All right. So something interesting's happening. The county, which is the county board of supervisors, the county board of supervisors is like the city council, but for the county. So especially if you don't live in a city, like for example, Alpine's a town. They don't have a city council, so their decisions come down from the county board. Of course, we all heard about the county board during COVID because that's where the health department really resides, and everybody's heard of enemy number one, Nathan Fletcher. That guy's horrible.
Oh, so bad.
So the county board, three out of 5 of them are anti-gun.
Right.
Jim Desmond is not. He's very pro-gun, and Joel Anderson is not. He's very pro-gun. But the other 3, led by Nathan Fletcher, very anti-gun.
Right.
So here's what they did.
Ex-military too, if you can believe
Yeah,
that.
yeah, he was in the Marine Corps. So they decided to have listening sessions, and they hired a consulting group to do these listening sessions. Basically, get feedback from the county, from the voters. They want to know how to stop gun violence. So they have a series of these listening sessions. They've already had, I think, 3 of them. And the final one is this Thursday. And what it is they already have a list. They already have ideas of what they want to do. I don't even know what they want to do, but they want to further restrict your ability to, keep and bear arms, essentially what they want to do. They want to make sure that it's harder for you to buy a gun, harder for you to own a gun, harder for you to carry a gun, harder for you to defend yourself with a gun. So in order to, before they present these listening sessions are designed to, get a reaction, the reaction that they want. So they want a bunch of people to show up and, hey, think of the children, think of the children, think of the children. So that they can go and say, hey, gosh, we're going to pass this legislation. We're going to pass this regulation. Because
all these people.
3 people showed up and said,
Yeah. We used to do that in the car business.
Yeah.
Bring in all the management.
Yeah.
And then put people out in tables and ask, well, what'd you think of the service manager? And what'd you think? That, it just demoralized the whole place. But they got the information they wanted. They fired the managers they didn't want, and they were gone.
Well, I mean,
so it's the same thing.
It is. And they tried to pass this off as unbiased, but it's extremely biased.
It becomes a feeding frenzy because when the first person says something, then the next one gets a little bit more ampier. Then the next one gets a little bit more ampier,
right?
And it's a disaster.
Well, and they couch this thing. They create, the narrative, and it's all about gun violence. So immediately, they kind of box you in. Okay, so they don't want to know how to stop crime. They don't want to know how to promote, safety. They want to talk about gun violence. And so
the questions are very directed, I'm sure.
Exactly. Yeah. So what ends up happening is you get, extremists on both sides. And they show up. It is the worst way to craft public policy.
Of course. I've never seen it work, and I've been around it a lot.
Right. Well, and it depends on how you define work. I mean, to them, it's going to work great. They're gonna, some loon's going to come and show up and say something loony, and they're going to get to.
It's a win-lose. There's a guy that wins, and then there's a guy that loses.
But if you really look at this thing, one of the
focus group.
Yeah,
that's what it's called.
It is. They're calling them listening sessions,
but
it's a focus group.
It's a focus group.
But if you look at this thing, one of the questions is, how do we stop gun violence? Well, what is gun violence? Like, what exactly are they talking about here?
What cause?
Well, but what about the single mom who is defending herself from being brutally beaten, raped, and killed?
Mm-hmm.
What if she uses a firearm that she legally owns, legally carries? What if she uses that to defend her life against a 250-pound guy with a knife?
Mm-hmm.
Is that gun violence?
Mm-mm.
Well, it counts in their numbers. The numbers that they give, right? They're going. That would have counted in their numbers as somebody who got shot.
How many people died with COVID?
Right. Well, but is that?
But they all got COVID. You know what I'm saying?
I know. Did you die of or with COVID? Right.
Did you know about it?
But is that the gun violence they want to stop?
No, they want to take away your guns.
Exactly.
It's not even trying to save lives. They don't care whether they save lives or not.
No, but the way they've structured this thing, right? The way they've structured this practice, these listening sessions, these questions, is to get the answer that they're looking for. Now, we've done a really good job so far of getting people to show up and say, "Hey, you know what? Stick it in your ear. We don't want any of this. We know what you're up to, and we don't want any of it." They had a listening session down in Chula Vista. It was predominantly people who showed up and
Did
said,
you go?
I didn't go to that one. So the reason we're talking about this, I monitored it. I didn't actually show up. I'm showing up at the one on Thursday at the Ronald Reagan Center in El Cajon to make a statement.
Gotcha.
It's very, very important that everybody show up to that one.
What day is it?
Thursday night.
What time?
6:00.
What time do we eat?
After.
Oh, it's always after.
Yeah.
Okay. And where is it again? At the
Ronald Reagan Center in El Cajon. If you're
we have a Ronald Reagan Center.
Sign up for our email. Go to our website. to get information. We'll post it and make sure that we've been talking about it for weeks. Need you to show up.
Is it free?
It's free. Need you to say that, hey, you know what? I'm totally opposed.
How much
to this.
time do you get?
3 minutes.
I need an hour.
Right? Even an hour. But just know that we need you to get out. We need you to drown out all the bad ideas. They're still going to move forward with what they're going to move forward on. We're still going to, stay on top of it. And they actually have a schedule of, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to compile all the feedback. We're going to come up with recommendations, et cetera, et cetera. But this one in particular is the most important. It's the final one. We need everyone to show up. Mm-hmm. But I just want you to imagine, this listening session. Imagine if they'd had a listening session in the Jim Crow South, outside of Birmingham, Alabama. And they said, hey, we're going to have a listening session about civil rights. It's 1958, right? Who would have showed up?
Well,
and what would they have
but
said?
The blacks go in this door, and then the whites go in this door.
If black Americans had if they even showed up, right? They wouldn't have shown up. I mean, imagine how many gun owners are going, you know what? I'm not showing up to this.
Yeah, are you kidding?
Basically,
I don't want them to know who I am.
Right. 3.5 million people didn't show up to these listening sessions. And that's the population of San Diego. I mean, it's really just a few dozen.
But they haven't really publicized it. I've watched KUSI, and I haven't seen a commercial.
Well, KUSI, they talked about it. I was like,
but you know what I mean?
Me. But yeah, but my point is, they're looking at a drop in the bucket.
Oh, not even that.
Of people that are responding to extremely slanted questions.
Well, it's like 3 people. Okay, we got 3 people in San Diego that all said this.
Right. And even if they do say, yeah, we want to, essentially what they're saying is, hey, we really want to violate people's civil rights more.
Yeah.
Who cares? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, why is that okay? It wouldn't be okay in 1958 Birmingham, Jim Crow South. Right. It's not okay in 2022 to violate civil rights, no matter how emotional or how passionate people are. Yeah. And again, the way that they've defined this thing is gun violence.
Well, just think if they put everything out to all the radio stations, all the TV stations, all the print, and have everybody come to Petco Park. Well, but I'm just saying,
right, yeah.
And then have speakers,
right?
But they
won't
do that.
Well, they won't. But even let's say they did that. Let's say 60,000 people showed up, and 59,999 of them said we need to ban guns, and there was just one guy that said, "No, I don't think we should." What the point is, taking people's civil rights away isn't okay, no matter what the masses tell you.
Right.
And this is why I'm saying, if it's 1958, you're outside of Birmingham, Alabama, in the Jim Crow South, and you want to have a listening session about racism, who's going to show up?
Nobody.
Racists.
Yeah.
And what are they going to say?
We don't
racist
want it.
stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why these listening sessions are it's a horrible idea. They have experts on all sides, whether it's the pro-gun side, the anti-gun side, in the middle, they already have people who've studied these things. You can follow the science, like it's so popular to say,
and then they can say, "I told you so."
And these listening sessions, horrible. But we need you to help us make them less horrible.
Kind of like voting, you got to come out and help.
Exactly right. Don't sit at home and hope somebody else shows up. I'll be there to make a statement, kind of the final,
and he'll give autographs and he'll do selfies if you're
exactly.
nice. You'll have to go through his people though,
right? But need everybody
2 minutes.
But that's these listening sessions are extremely important to beat them at their own game.
You going to be there, Max?
Yeah. What do you say, man?
I'll try.
What are you doing there? What are you doing Thursday night?
Homework. Oh no, you're all done, right?
Yeah, I'm all done. So
there you go. No excuse.
Well, Chula Vista's kind of far away from Escondido.
No. It's actually El Cajon.
Oh, El Cajon.
Yeah,
all right.
It's the same.
There you go.
Do like I tell my friends in Escondido out there, I said, get your passport. You can come down into San Diego. It's okay. I'm telling you, I can't get people to go north or south. Inland Empire Gun Owners strives to be the ounce of prevention in the fight for your local rights. How do they do it? They do it by fundraising and getting local pro-gun candidates elected. Become a member today. Go to iegunowners.com/join and join the growing number of responsible gun owners stepping up to defend our Second Amendment. That's iegunowners.com/join.
All right, Max, now guess what we're going to do?
Ask him a lot of questions.
No. We're going to interview Karla Talley from the Inland Empire Gun Owners. She's the executive director up in Inland Empire, and they had their Xmas party last night. Karla, how you doing? Are you there?
I'm here. I'm doing good. How are you?
Fantastic! Congratulations on a fantastic shindig last night.
Oh, thank you. We really wanted to try to keep it low-key and relaxed last night after gun prom and all the bells and whistles and bling and gun prom. We wanted a night just for the members and friends just to get together and hang out and visit and have some good food and win some great raffle prizes.
Well, it was all the above. I was there. I had the honor.
Yes.
It was good food and good people and a good time. Where did you have it?
We had it at Thompson's Brewery in Riverside.
Cool. Thompson's Brewery. It was good. How did you find Thompson's Brewery?
We actually, one of our board members goes there quite often, and he brought it to our attention to possibly hold our Christmas party last year and possibly hold a couple meetings there through the year. Unfortunately, the meetings didn't work out, and at the time we wanted to be able to bring in a catering truck, and they didn't allow us to do that. But this year we decided, we're just going to go and have them cater it and sit out back and let them do all the work.
And party.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's a Michael Schwartz way.
There you go. We had fried chicken sandwiches. Oh,
really?
Yes.
And they made all that in house. And we had what else? We had pulled.
Yep.
Was it pulled pork?
Pulled pork, yeah.
Wow.
And then they had the brisket baked beans, 5 cheese gourmet macaroni and cheese.
The mac and cheese.
We had a
was
great potato salad. We had all the fixings. The chicken sandwiches also had a homemade ranch dressing to put on them.
You can't do this.
Awesome. We do it. We do.
No, I've been here for 6 hours. You can't talk like that on radio.
I didn't try the beans. I didn't know they were brisket beans. I wish I'd have
They
known.
are. They were brisket beans, big old chunks of beef brisket in it.
How could you miss that? How could you
so
miss
embarrassed.
that?
I'm so embarrassed now.
Yeah, you should go get stretched.
And you had a. That's like the new. It's like your new.
That's my
It's like your new
That's-
insult. Get
Yeah,
stretched.
Yeah, get stretched. That's cool.
So, and you had prizes too. I liked what you did.
Mm-hmm.
You had on the prize table, Dave. They were all wrapped. So you
didn't know what you were getting.
You didn't know what you were getting, right? Is that explain? How did you do it, Karla?
Exactly. I took everything and wrapped everything, and I put it on the table. And as I called the numbers, I told them they were able to come up and choose one present on the table.
Oh.
They were not allowed to molest it. They couldn't pick it up. They couldn't shake it. They couldn't turn around and take it back and exchange it. Once they picked it up, it was theirs.
You're evil.
It was kind of cool. It was kind of a neat way of doing it.
But we had some really great prizes. We have a member that is a quilter, and she actually did 2 quilts this year. She did a giant queen-size Christmas quilt, which was beautiful.
I bet.
And then she did what's called a personal quilt. It's like a lap quilt, and it was all gun-related. It had the Second Amendment on it, and all the
I bet it was
stitching in
cool.
the middle of it was all shaped in different guns.
Who did that?
Jeanette Stemus.
Oh, she's not.
We told you so.
She's not just a quilter. She's a hugger. I get a big hug.
Did you get a big hug?
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
everybody
She's a
wants
great hugger.
She's a great lady. She's a wonderful
That's cool.
patriot and Second Amendment supporter.
Yep. Her and her husband also do all of our jacket embroidery and all of our hat embroidery.
that. Nice. I always like working with the smaller, family-owned companies like that.
Yes,
Yeah. The quality's there for sure.
definitely.
I hate hats that say Taiwan.
Taiwan.
I hate it.
You hate hats that say Taiwan.
Yeah.
And they're part of our
So specific.
China's
they're part
okay.
of our fabulous foursome is what we call them. They're out at our tabletops almost every weekend.
It's the other way around. We're gonna get all kinds of hate mail that you just bashed Taiwan and
I
supported
digress.
China. Great, Dave. Way to cause an international incident on Gun Owners Radio.
Well, at least we know
During
they're
my
listening.
segment.
Yeah, during your segment, I need to buy you lunch.
Definitely.
So how big is your club?
We're actually an organization. We're not a club.
I like clubs.
We are at.
Don't you have huggers and clubs? You don't have organizations.
No, we're like one big happy family.
That's
we're
even better.
560 members.
Oh,
now.
wow. You got that many in a Brewery. That's pretty.
Well, we did.
Well,
they didn't all show up. But
Yeah, we had about 30 people show up.
that number spiked. Inland Empire's membership number spiked thanks to Karla. She's doing a fantastic
That's
job
awesome.
in Inland
Well,
Empire of getting members and
Tell her about our guest.
doing all the stuff. Yeah, have you been listening? Are Max here with the UCSD marksmanship program?
Oh, I haven't listened yet. I was going to go and listen after I did my segment
Yeah.
and rewind it and watch it. So
But he's right there, SDSU, and they've put together this great club where they educate the kids, and we were talking about how amazing how many of these on-campus kids are actually coming in to figure out what this gun thing is all about, and
That's
then the ones that
fantastic.
want to shoot get to shoot.
my daughter's old high school just put out a notice that they're going to have a shooting team.
What?
Wow.
They're
Yeah,
High
I
school.
I was amazed. Yeah.
I really think we're going into.
I think so too.
I think we're going into just like an era. We're going into a short era. Hopefully not a short era, but we're going into an era of.
But the
more
left
of a
doesn't
pro
want to. They don't want
to
to
a-
talk about it. The ones that want our guns don't want to talk about it.
Well,
but
some
they
on the
know
left
they
do.
got to do something.
Some on the right don't want to talk about it.
Well, that's true,
But I
too.
think we're headed into. I think we're. It just feels like
Does it feel like it?
there's a really bright light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not a train this time.
Right.
Like a Second
Right.
Amendment renaissance.
A Second Amendment renaissance,
Oh,
exactly.
I like this.
Max.
Ah, that's
Yeah.
perfect.
So
Well-
what are you looking forward to most in 2023 for Inland Empire?
Growth.
There you
My
go.
goal is to have nearly 1,000 members by the end of 2023.
Bam!
So we are gonna
1,000
be
members.
Cool.
You heard it here.
members by the end of 2023.
Yeah.
Breaking
And-
news.
Yep.
How many
Yep.
have you
So
got?
We're right.
San Diego's got I forget 3,400. I think.
See, and I remember when you had 500.
Times the amount of what we have, but that's okay.
But you know what?
We're working it.
You sounded just like Mike when we started the show. I think he had 500, maybe 600, if that.
Something like that.
Pretty low number, but the enthusiasm on his face, it was like, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. And we're at 35.
Yeah, something
Yep.
like that. 34, 35. Something like
Wow, that's a ton. That's
And-
a lot of work, too.
And Karla's.
Well, and we're running a great special right now. We've got 40% off our membership dues.
Wow.
So if you're in
Yep.
Inland Empire, if you're in Riverside or San Bernardino, even if you're not, you just want to be a member of Inland Empire. If you go to inlandempiregunowners.com, you can sign up for any level of membership and get 40% off?
40% off. Yeah.
40% off through December, right?
Yes.
There you
Yeah.
go.
It expires at midnight, December 31st. So January 1st, it's no longer is in effect. But and you can also upgrade. If you're like a Patriot membership, you can go in and pay for a challenge membership at that 40% off.
So I got a question. I belong to San
Yeah.
Diego County Gun Owners. Can I join your club?
Mhm. Absolutely. We'd welcome you with open arms.
Look at that.
Well, I'm just saying, all the San Diego County gun owners that are out there, all
Yeah.
3,500 of them, should join this group.
I think there's only one person that I know of. I'll have to go back and look, but I think there's only one person I know of. Her name's Claire, and she's a member of all 3 packs.
But I
Oh,
think
goodness.
everybody
Okay.
should be that way.
I
If
agree.
you want to get this Second Amendment thing off the ground. Hey, is
Yep.
she staying?
No, that's it.
Throwing her out?
That's it. So
I'll-
go to
Oh, yeah.
inlandempiregunowners.com. Go to a meeting and introduce yourself to Karla. She's got a lot of work ahead.
And
of her.
join up.
If Dave joins, he'd be the crazy uncle.
I could be the crazy.
Yeah.
I like that. Well, a lot of companies are very unhappy with their website. It looks old, it's out of date, it's not getting customers. Well, Sage Tree gets it. Since 2005, Sage Tree has been helping companies with websites that look great, work great, and get leads. Stop being frustrated by your website and get one that you're proud to share. Contact Sage Tree today to get the website that makes the phones ring. Getting started is easy. Call 866-728-9100. That's 866-728-9100. Let them fix your website today.
All right, so you want some good news, Dave?
Oh, absolutely.
Remember when we started the show and it was nothing but bad news? Have you noticed that more and more you're getting gooder news?
Gooder.
You know, you're absolutely no. You really are right because it's almost like when you say, "Hey, you ever heard of Michael Schwartz or have you ever heard of Gun Owners of San Diego?" I'm getting more yeses than I've ever gotten in the past. You know,
That's good.
Well, and we all need to do that. We all need to ask people, perfect strangers standing in the grocery line, about that because, again, I think that's part of spreading the word. Max, you'll probably agree.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you probably go to school. Yeah, you study, but you're probably still thinking about your Second Amendment right, and you need to share it with some of these kids.
Yeah, and just be informative as much as we can.
Well, it's nice that you're giving them an avenue. You're giving them an option. Whether they take it or not, that's not your problem. Your problem is, I'm here if you want to listen.
Of course.
Which doesn't that kind of move you up that negative ladder? Because they're down here still thinking terrible things about gun ownership, but you're up here saying, well, if you want to come up here, you might be enlightened.
Yeah. It's about.
And you've never had, I want to actually, let's circle back to that before we talk about what we're going to talk about. You haven't had any pushback. No one has, no one's filed
Like, you
a
can't say
complaint
nobody.
Like, no one's, like, sent you an email. Nothing like that, huh?
So far, not really.
Burnt your car.
That's amazing.
But from other members, like comments, they did get like some negative reaction, especially with our social media. They were like, "Why do they have this like assault rifle, or even though it's just a civilian AK,
Which it's not an assault rifle.
Yeah, it's not assault. It can't shoot automatic,
Yes.
but that's as far." To the extent of like negative perception on us as a club.
And it wasn't even real bad because, social media is where they can really throw mud.
Yeah.
And say whatever they want and the whole 9 yards. But you didn't really you got negative, but it wasn't brutal.
It was not brutal. It was more of, I guess, they didn't like what we did and they didn't want to deal with us. So.
Do you have in-person meetings or is it all Zoom?
We do have in-person meetings.
Right.
Yeah, we plan on doing meetings at least once a month.
That's awesome.
Right.
Is there a club that's the opposite? Is there a
anti-gun?
Yeah,
club.
is there an anti-gun club?
All of them?
Oh yeah, it's called the College Democrats.
Do you ever reach out? Do you ever like say, "Hey, why don't we talk about this?" Or
a part of me feels like I should, but given the political climate, I'm not entirely sure if it would be a good idea.
Yeah, do you really want to get yelled at? Because they don't want to listen to your reasoning.
No.
All they want to do is yell at you, call you names, and
try to get a Biden to win the next election.
Yeah, that's all they care about right now. Yeah. And they figured out they don't have to debate. Nobody has to. Do you notice that nobody has to debate? Have you seen anybody that's debated except once, maybe?
There's protest.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Has anything like that happened at UCSD? Has there been any like, hey, we want to have this, speaker, and they said nope, you can't have that speaker? I know that's happened in other California universities.
In the past, we did have some speakers, but it's more like within the club. It's not like open to the public. We had like
oh, I see. So you have like-minded speakers.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got to ask you a question.
But that's definitely a plan that I'm gonna like
work on
later down the road.
Yeah, because I think you're right. But when I was a kid, I went to school and I was a Cub Scout and a Boy Scout. I have to wear my uniform and got harassed like you would not believe. Do you wear anything at school that says that you belong to this club?
No, we don't.
No T-shirt.
But we do plan on getting a merch down the road too.
Yeah.
So
merch, I like it.
Remember when you were a scout?
Oh yeah.
Didn't they give you hell when you went to school?
No.
Well, not you.
Not me, Dave.
That's right. I was like thinking you were stretched.
That's right. So
you do have big plans? Sounds to me like.
Yeah.
When's the merch come out?
When we have the money.
So we got to get you a sponsor.
Yeah. How much do you need?
He hasn't got that in his head right.
We don't know that. We don't know yet.
To be determined.
We will, let's see if we can get that.
But I'd get some of these stores around, like Turner's or something or other, and then you get them to throw in.
That'd be cool.
K1 Speed.
Put a little patch on the back or something.
Yeah, K1 Speed might jump on that.
How many
not
shirts do you
K1,
need?
I'm sorry, 511.
Yeah. How many shirts do you need?
Like
30?
Yeah, 30, 50.
30, 50? What would you want T-shirts or polos, or what would you do?
Just like T-shirts, just like regular T-shirts.
All right, we might have to.
And I'll tell you another thing too. Always put the logo in the front, right in your chest bone.
Mm-hmm.
That way, when you wear a jacket like that and you have it unbuttoned, stay warm, they can still see the logo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
People that put them up here, like that SD County thing, that's never should be there.
Oh, I kind of like that design though.
We're in San Diego.
Yeah, but that's
Nobody's
a polo
wearing a
shirt.
jacket. You don't wear jackets.
Well, you don't wear a jacket.
That's true.
But yeah. But no, 511. That's what I was trying to say when I say K1
Okay.
speed. But 511 got really good stuff.
Mm.
I'm telling you.
All right.
So,
Better
how do
than
you like? What are the politics like at UCSD? I mean, you can kind of tell. Like Berkeley is extreme left, and University of San Francisco is extreme left. Like, how would you describe? Does UCSD have a political identity?
Yeah, it has a pretty liberal bias. Not to the extent like UC Berkeley, UCB is like. But when there's a opportunity that shows up, they definitely do show up for protests, like the Union for Academic Workers that just happened a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
What is that? What's the Union for Academic Workers?
Oh, it's mainly like TAs and like student workers that basically try to advocate for like fair wages in the university. I haven't really kept up with that, but apparently they get like paid like $20,000 a year.
It feels like with college, I feel like there needs to be a trend, like all this weird stuff. It all seems to be left over from like the Animal House, like 50s, 60s, like fraternity, sororities, and
I think they all want that.
Yeah,
To them, that's an experience.
but it's not
No,
reality. It's not real world.
That's because you're old and you're realizing it.
I am old.
But when you were in college, I'm sure you were a hoot to handle.
Look, get all these college kids off my front lawn.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I don't know. Okay, so they tend to be a little bit left. What college is there? Even a college out there that is like, wow, that's a pretty conservative college. Like, what college out there has a right wing?
Because I heard that
bent?
96% of professors are liberal left. 96%.
Is there like a right, like, is there a right wing equivalent of Cal, of Berkeley that you know of?
Grand Canyon.
Yeah, that could be. Oh, actually that's in Arizona, but
Grand Canyon, or anywhere, anywhere across the country. Grand Canyon University tends to be they're pretty conservative.
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is probably Liberty University or
PragerU.
Yeah.
Hey, I heard that was a college.
or BYU maybe. That's probably another
BYU.
one.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Now is what was it? Was it Grand Canyon, Alicia?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a religious college?
Yeah.
She graduated from.
I would imagine a lot of these religious colleges are probably pretty, maybe a little more on the conservative side.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I just looked up on a website called collegevaluesonline.com, and they said the number one most conservative college in California is Point Loma Nazarene.
Yeah,
University.
Point Loma.
Oh,
See,
I
but
didn't
that's
even
another
think
religious.
of that.
Is there a
That's
non?
religious.
That's interesting. Is there a non-religious college that is known to be conservative?
To
Yeah.
be honest, no. I'm looking at all these colleges here.
They're
and
all related.
They're all related to religion.
Yep.
Every single one of them.
That's crazy.
That-
And I know there are religious colleges that
Wait, PragerU?
are fairly left wing too.
He's not related to it.
That's not a real college. It's not a college. That's a
You get-
YouTube channel. It's not a college, Dave.
But you can get a diploma.
You can't get a diploma from PragerU.
Send in the money. I seen it. You can get it at school.
I didn't even know. That's kind of interesting. I'll have to think about that. How do you start a conservative college?
You're not allowed.
You're not allowed.
Not the
I would
rule.
think like some
But who did this?
like Creighton.
I mean, who really put this game plan together?
or what's that basketball college that got popular like 20 years? Gonzaga. I think like one of those, like some middle of the country college.
But stop and think. How did they start the transition of kids in schools to come out with such hardcore liberal left professors? I mean, this takes months. It takes years.
I don't know, but honestly, my I don't care. It's not that I care that they're hardcore liberal. It just I don't want any college
For
that
their
has a severe
ideology.
Yeah, I don't want any kind of severe ideology.
Yeah.
Like it's a place where it should
You're
be.
supposed to debate.
Well, you're supposed
Yeah.
to debate, but you should look at the left and the right and the middle and the up and the down
And make a
the-
decision that fits
you know?
you.
Yeah. And I think any college that is now I understand that people, according to whatever their programs are, or, I understand that there are colleges that'll get a concentration of a certain, ideology or certain type of person, and it's very surprising to me that there's not a single college out there
I know.
that isn't religious but is, tends to be more conservative. Yeah, what about Chico State? They're pretty no.
I think they're just like
They're
chilling
not
out.
they're not really about political party, just party.
That's not really a
Yeah.
college. That's not really a college.
But it surprises me that there isn't one. Now, again, I don't really want a right-wing college. I definitely don't want
You want a middle-of-the-road
90%.
college.
I just want a college.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If you were wondering too, according to the same website, look up Chico State. It says 43% are liberals, 26% are moderate, and 4% are conservative.
Oh, okay.
That's it. in terms of the
4%.
student. Yeah.
Well, and I think you're working against. What do they say? They say if you're a conservative when you're young, you have no heart, and if you're a liberal when you're old, you have no brain. Is that how that goes?
I know.
So you're working against.
Yeah.
Kids 18
All
to
right.
22 are,
You've already pissed off half the listeners. Hey, is there a better tool that allows a woman to defend against an attacker that's 100-pound bigger? That's why it's so important for women to learn how to defend themselves with the most effective self-defense tool ever invented. For women, led by women, the Not Me program is designed to help with training, purchasing a gun, and getting a concealed carry permit. Guess what? It's all free. To sign up, go to notmesd.org. The program is also available in Orange County and Inland Empire. So get help today. notmesd.org.
So I feel good. I just off air just said that I downloaded the Chevron app and I only buy gas at Chevron from now on. What did you say, Dave?
Well, I'm just saying it's a very smart move because you're not going to get a better fuel.
I feel good about that now.
I know. I think that's a commercial.
I know we should get Chevron to.
Yeah,
Sponsor.
to back us up a
Sponsor
little
us.
bit. Well, and we did talk a little bit about, Costco gas. All you have to do, folks, put a tank of Costco in it, drive 150 miles or go, run the tank out, and then go get a Chevron, do the same thing, do the math, not the computer on the car, do the math, and you'll save 2 or 3 gallons, 2 or 3
wow.
miles per gallon.
Wow, there you go.
And you won't have issues. But anyway, that's another story.
All right, prize winner, Gun Owners Radio
Oh, yeah.
prize package. The winner is my good buddy Albert Garcia. Congratulations, my friend.
What do you want?
He wins the Gun Owners Radio prize package. And he won for joining the email newsletter. If you want to join the email newsletter, go to gunownersradio.com/subscribe. gunownersradio.com/subscribe. Sign up for our newsletter, and you could win the Gun Owners Radio prize package.
Cool.
So, yeah, which is it's a decoder ring, and it tells you
Absolutely.
to drink more Ovaltine.
I like that.
Okay, so we had a really cool win. We actually started talking about how the wins are, coming more and more often.
Yeah.
When we first started, it was like, hey,
We should have a
bad
chart.
news. Yeah, so some kind of bar
Yeah.
chart or a pie chart or something. There's some kind of graph.
See how
showing
well
what
we're doing.
Yeah. Well, we had a major win. It's truly a major win. Now, it was. We're going to talk about Senate Bill 1327.
I didn't hear it on the news.
Well, we're working on that. Here's what happened. So the Bruin case came out,
Right.
and said, "Yep, turns out the Second Amendment exists, and it's actually kind of important." And all the big attorneys, Firearms Policy Coalition, everybody, we all have. There's a plan out there. There's 1,000 lawsuits that everybody wants to file and launch and win. And but as soon, and the Bruin case was kind of the foundation of all that.
Right.
The Bruin case basically said, yeah, all your cases they're going to win because of this decision.
Because
So-
if you lost, that would probably pretty much put a squelch on a lot of the other lawsuits.
Had the Bruin case gone another way,
Right.
it would have been devastating.
That's what I'm saying.
Devastating. It would have been devastating on so many different levels, but it didn't. We won. That's good.
Yeah.
So why haven't you seen a whole avalanche of lawsuits? Have you noticed that you really hasn't been like this huge, avalanche?
It's like they're
of
happy
lawsuits?
with the win and now they're relaxed.
No. What happened was Senate Bill 1327. Now, they passed Senate Bill 1327. They ramrodded it through, went through extremely quickly, and it took effect immediately. A lot of times when Senate bills or Assembly bills pass,
Takes a year.
yeah, January 1st. Senate Bill 1327 What it says is, among other things, but the main part that derailed things for a short time is it basically said, look, if you sue the state on Second Amendment issues and you lose, then the state can come after you to recover fees. So if the state passes an anti-gun measure, law, whatever, and you say, hey, you know what, I'm going to sue, that's against my constitutional right, and the courts decide against you, they say, nope, this is actually constitutional, then the state could say, hey, you know what, we spent $1.5 million
and you're going to give it to us.
You're going to give it to us.
You know they're going to be efficient. The tax going to be high.
Huge. Oh, yeah. $1.5 million is probably kind of high. That would be like a Supreme Court case, but it is absolutely hundreds of thousands of dollars in fees.
I mean,
hundreds
at that point, it might as well be millions.
Might as well.
Well,
right?
no, it's Alicia.
So that made everybody go, wait. You know, we gotta figure this out. We got to get over this bump in the road before we can do anything else. So what did we do? Did we file another lawsuit? Our attorneys actually did something extremely intelligent. Now, we have the Miller case, which is the Miller-Bontis, right. Miller versus Bontis. It's the assault weapons case. And we already had a positive decision. And the Supreme Court said, hey, you know what? You guys need to revisit this thing. You need to, basically, the decision that the judge made that was positive, the Supreme Court was basically saying that's, you need to implement that thing. So the judge said, all right, both sides send me any more information, that you want me to know. The state said, oh, we need a whole year. The judge said, no, you don't. So we're probably going to get a decision here before too long. But rather than file a whole new lawsuit with this fee thing, our attorney said, wait a minute. We don't know if we can proceed on this thing unless you decide on this 1327. We need Judge Benitez. We need you to tell us, are we on the hook for $500,000? Or, how's this going to work? Pretty genius, right?
Wow.
So that rather than a whole new lawsuit, we
had to address it.
We had to address it. Brought it up. The judge said, okay, I'll address it. Not a problem. Came out with a decision last week saying, nope, this whole thing, throw it out on its ear. Throw it out on its
1327.
ear. 1327. Out on its ear. Well, a little bit down into the weeds, a little bit more specific, though, is his decision basically said all the existing suits, the mag, the high-capacity magazine.
That's already in the works.
Yeah, all the ones that are already in the works.
Grandfathered in.
That doesn't apply. But, this whole thing stinks. I'm paraphrasing. I don't think those are the words he used. But, this whole thing that stinks, you definitely can't use it against, these different cases. So, boom.
So that's good news.
That's good. That's partial good news. That's awesome. Great. Fantastic. Woohoo. Then the Attorney General came out and said, all right, we're not going to pursue this thing. Basically saying they knew they were going to lose.
So let's stop bleeding money.
It's not. Yeah, this is a big waste of time.
Right.
The idea that the state was going to come after you for losing a case against, fighting for your constitutional rights.
Yeah, they just pushed it to the limit.
And it was even worse than that. Let's say you said, "Hey, this law, there are 10 things about it I don't like," and you win 9. That 10th one, you lose the 10th. Like say the court said, "All right, you're right. 9 of these are unconstitutional, but this 10th one." Actually, it's not unconstitutional. Boom, they'll come after you for 100% of the fees.
Right.
So it was really, truly an intimidation tactic. It was designed to stop us from, regaining our constitution.
Well, of course, and they're not going to stop.
Well, they're not going to stop, but the Attorney General...
They're going to find a different way to come after you.
Well, here's the different way, though. Here's where they already
did it.
So the Attorney General said, you know what, we're not going to mess with this thing. We're done with this fee shifting, malarkey. And then the governor said, okay, well, I'll fund it. He wants to step in and fund this thing and get attorneys to, isn't that ridiculous?
I thought I did read that someplace.
Isn't that ridiculous? I mean, if that's not an extremist weirdo, I don't know what is.
Wow.
If that's not have you even heard of that before? Now, I'm not an attorney. I don't play one on TV.
He's going to fund it.
I didn't stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
He's not going to fund nothing. I am.
Right, exactly.
Isn't that my money?
No. So he wants private money to fund this thing, is what he's looking at. but or money that is donated
COVID.
from a money that might be donated from one of his 501c3s or something like that. Now, I'm not an attorney. It's not legal advice. I'm not an expert in this area, but I don't see how he has standing to do that. I really don't. So, but we still got to fight it, right?
But they haven't followed the law in the last 5 years.
Right. So we still got to go to court. We still got to
fight.
go and say, hey, you know what? This guy, he's a jerk. We need you to agree with us.
Right.
But I got to tell you, whether you hate Trump, you love Trump, you don't care about Trump, wherever you stand on Trump, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals is, because of his administration, is far nicer, is far more friendly, is far more reasonable.
And that was planned. That was planned.
Oh, it absolutely was. So,
but every president tries to load up. Some think about it, some don't.
Yeah.
Trump just jumped all over it. I mean, he threw them all.
His administration did a good job.
Yeah.
Truly, in that arena. Well, I will. Good is subjective. I think it's good. It's helping me. It's gun owners. Therefore, I think it's good. But he has definitely had an impact on the makeup of the Ninth Circuit Court.
Right.
It used to be the idea of getting a panel of 3 judges. Two of them agreeing with us on the Second Amendment was ludicrous to even think about. Now it's not so weird.
Yeah.
And of course, with the
how long are their appointments?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think are they lifetime? I don't know.
Good question.
Good news. The fee shifting thing. We defeated it. We still got to fight a little bit because Gavin Newsom, everybody's favorite governor, is doing some weird shenanigans. But the good news is that the Attorney General basically said we're not going to mess with this thing. Now, what that does is it's going to clear the way for not just the lawsuits that you already know about, like the 1 in 30 law, the assault weapons ban, the under 21 ban, the roster, which I think you're going to see some really good news on the roster.
That's what I want to see. I want to see the roster.
It's coming. All that's going to be able to move forward.
But isn't he going to? I mean, aren't they Sacramento's just going to keep fighting and keep fighting and keep fighting?
Absolutely. This isn't going to go away. It's not going to go away. Yeah. We have to keep fighting. We have to keep. More importantly, we have to keep winning.
Absolutely. So that's good news.
There you go.
Yeah, normally you pretty much tear me up here. The last 2 hours. Self-defense event happens in seconds. In the time it takes to listen to this commercial, your life could change forever. And I pray you're never forced to shoot in self-defense. But if you must, then you must be ready. That's why USCCA exists. Because every responsibly armed American should have the training and education to navigate a self-defense situation. And should you ever need it, the 24/7 critical response team is right there for you. To discover more about USCCA, visit uscca.com/GOR. Act now, because the life you save could be your own. That's uscca.com/GOR.
uscca.com/GOR. That's good. This is a good question this week, man. You see that?
Yeah.
Alicia, you want to do it?
Sure.
Sure. Do we have Sam on?
Yo, Sam.
Hello.
Big Sam.
Yeah, how are you guys?
Good, man. How are you?
Fantastic. So this is Stump My Nephew. We found out that Sam, the gunman, my nephew, is extremely good at gun trivia. So every week, if you write in and send us a question and we use it on the air, you'll get a hat or a shirt. If you stump my nephew, you'll get a special prize. Fire it up, Alicia.
All right, Sam, you ready?
Floor is yours.
Yeah, let's have it.
All right. So today we have a question. It's from Elton from Phoenix. So our question today is, what is considered the first sniper rifle?
Elton from Phoenix. Thanks for writing in. What is considered the first sniper rifle? That's a really interesting question because I guess it would depend a little bit on who you ask. But
We're asking Sam.
I guess what your real definition is. But I'll give you a few possible answers and why they could be considered the first. You could say that the rifle itself, the first rifled musket, was in a sense a sniper rifle because it was much more accurate than the smoothbore musket, and that's why that eventually became the dominant paradigm. You could say that the Whitworth rifle was the first sniper rifle because it was exceptionally accurate for its day. That came around in about the mid-19th century. A handful were used in the American Civil War. You could say that various other patterns of rifled muskets used in the American Civil War and around that time were the first sniper rifles because they were the first to be fitted with telescopic sights. Or you could even, if you wanted to get much later on, you could say that, for example, the M40 in U.S. service was an early example of a sniper rifle because it was one of the first that was built dedicated as a sniper's weapon instead of just converted from an accurized service rifle like a K98 or a Mosin Nagant or a Springfield M1903.
Well, so, okay. So I have to say the answer that we had prepared is one of those that you did list, and you were correct with the content and the explanation you gave.
I'm guessing it's going to be the Whitworth, right?
Of course.
Of course.
Alicia, read the answer.
Okay.
He even got here.
So here's the answer.
So, yeah, the Whitworth rifle was an English-made percussion rifle used in the latter half of the 19th century. A single-shot muzzleloader with excellent long-range accuracy for its era, upwards of 1,400 yards, especially when used with a telescopic sight. The Whitworth rifle is widely regarded as the world's first sniper rifle.
Congratulations.
So, first of all, great question from Elton from Phoenix. Fantastic question. Lots of interesting material there. And just to justify my multiple answers a little bit and say that I wasn't just hedging my bets and acting unfairly.
Nobody accused you of that.
What's that?
Nobody accused you of that, I assure you. But keep going.
Okay, well, I still have to cover all my bases. Again, as I said, it really depends on what you consider to be a sniper rifle, because you have, even earlier in U.S. history, there was an American Continental Army officer by the name of Morgan who led a group of sharpshooters equipped with basically just rifled muskets used to devastating effect against British officers during the American Revolution. And so you could make the argument, again, depending on how vague or specific you want to be with your definition of sniper rifle, that their basic rifled muzzle-loading muskets were sniper rifles because they were used by sharpshooters, or what we would now call snipers. But I think that the Whitworth rifle is a great place to draw the line because it was designed from the ground up for accuracy.
So that's my question. Why do you think, from what you know about the Whitworth, why would you think that it earned the reputation as the first sniper rifle? Or even broader, is there some context to, what was going on at that time when they, maybe that's why it's earned the reputation of being the first sniper rifle?
Yeah, there's actually a great forgotten weapons video on this if you want a good overview of it. Whitworth he had a background in mechanical engineering, and he was big into precision and standardization, which during the Industrial Revolution, those things were really a big deal because that's how we got the technology we have today, is people back then trying to figure out ways to machine things more precisely. And so what he did with his rifle was, instead of having a roughly round bore with rifling grooves cut into it, the bore was actually polygonal in profile. And I'm not talking polygonal rifling like in a Glock barrel. Like, it actually had flat sides, because he figured out that you can get a much tighter and more consistent fit between flat surfaces than round surfaces. So if you shove a bullet down that barrel when you're loading it, then flat sides on the bullet will match up with flat faces on the inside of the barrel and give you a very consistent fit. I don't know if there's good information on exactly how accurate they were by modern standards. Like, I don't think anyone scientifically tested it, but they were renowned for very good precision for their time.
Dave said he already knew all this.
Yeah, right.
Well, good for him then.
Not hard.
So the M40, talk about the M40 for a little bit. What you mentioned as a possible candidate for answering the question. Tell people what the M40 was and who was behind the M40.
Yeah, basically, Carlos Hathcock of Marine Corps fame was a very effective sniper in the Vietnam War, and he really pioneered a lot of the tactics and equipment that became dominant later on and are still prevalent to this day. And one of the rifles he was most famous for using was a civilian market Winchester Model 70 that he dressed up a little bit for his own needs. And so they took a lot of those same ideas he came up with for how to make a good sniper rifle and put that into the M40. It's a Remington 700 action rebuilt by armorers here at Marine Corps Base Quantico into a devastatingly accurate sniper rifle.
I always thought it was interesting that he used the 70, the Model 70, but when it came time to come up with a standard sniper rifle for the Marine Corps, that he switched to a Remington 700. I thought that was interesting. There's probably a deep explanation for that. I don't know what it is, but I always thought that was interesting.
My guess is that the actions were more easily available, as were parts. But that's just conjecture on my part.
I read an interview of somebody that served with Hathcock and said that that his barrel was a mess. He said it as good a sniper as he was, it was even more amazing because he dragged that Model 70 up and down hills and whatever. Across Vietnam.
Shouldn't have shot nothing.
Yeah, shouldn't have hit anything, and he was so good with it.
Knew his gun.
There's some saying about fearing.
Fear the man with one gun, for he knows how to use it.
There you go. That's the saying.
Why did you even think?
All right, man. We just have a couple minutes. What do you got going on what do you got cooking as far as your blog? Did you do an article last week? Or you got one coming up this week?
I'm getting the weeks mixed up now because I remember 1 or 2 weeks you told me not to do a post because there was another one going up. But
did you do one after the book report?
I don't remember.
All right. What do you got one coming out tomorrow?
The book review.
Yeah, I've got one coming up tomorrow. Pretty much ready to go about buying guns as gifts for relatives because it's getting to be that time of year.
Oh, that's a good subject.
And so I figure it's topical, good information there.
Yeah,
so if you go to any of the websites, San Diego County Gun Owners, Orange County Gun Owners, Inland Empire Gun Owners, if you go to any of the websites and look at the blog, you'll find Joe Dramisi's and you'll also find Sam. He's been giving us about a blog a week. So check that out, and we'll talk about. What we'll do is we'll roll it out in Thursday's emails. It'll go up tomorrow, but we'll roll out in Thursday's emails, and then we'll talk about it. We'll go over it Sunday with your we'll have you talk about it Sunday. How's that?
Yep, sounds good.
All right,
awesome job, Sam. Everything about this was fantastic.
That was a good one.
Extremely good.
2 minutes.
It's a fun topic. Good question, and thanks for having me on as always.
My pleasure. All right.